RPG he's playing. Obviously, we've got Johannes here as well. And you say it's the Lancer RPG that I've got to admit, I know absolutely nothing about. Playing. Obviously, we've got Johannes here as well.
Lancer is Mech Warrior / Gundam Wings / Anola Zero / whatever mech show you're watching up. In a nutshell,
Lancer big robots.
It's a big robot. You're in a robot. You're shooting some bad boys. That's all you do. And I only recently started playing it. So like the last few, maybe last 2 weeks, because I hate myself and I have nothing else to do during the quarantine. So why the heck not?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Good. High up for quarantine. Woo! So Lancer is interesting because there is what they've done right is that it came on Kickstarter I think a year ago, and what they did is that they released the book on PDF on itch.io, but the main core rules are free, but the setting is what you have to pay for.
All right, okay.
And the DM stuff is what you have to pay for. So if you just want to play the game, the first edition with the core book and the base stuff about playing a dude and just kicking some butts and doing everything you need to know about making your ship and everything else is completely free.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know, which free for players at least.
Free for players, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's nice if you're going to be like a German game. Presumably, you've paid for a copy and whatever. Yeah. It's nice if you trying to get other people involved and get them enthusiastic about it. When you can say look, here's all you need, and you haven't got to make a massive capital outlay from the get go.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's great, but what makes it even better is that other than the fact that the players don't have to pay for it, let's wrap it off. They also released recently something called Copcom, which is a browser or a downloadable app that's basically your character builder, in the same kind of sense that what D&D Beyond is. And you can also, and it works on your browser, but you can share information. You can share player data using a cloud service, and you can also use to build mission maps and do a whole bunch of other cool things, and it simplifies playing the game or running the game to nothing. And I've always been a big fan of systems that are slightly overcomplicated, so there's multiple options. But I'm also a big fan of simplified things. So when you have something like Copcom, where you can take something that it's a mech builder, the options are ridiculously out over the top. You can build anything. There's no real limiting to what you do other than your license level. And the higher license level you go, the more options you get. Yeah. It becomes more and more ridiculous. But because of Copcom, that whole batch thing is just completely cut out. You don't have to worry about any of that because Copcom does all the work for you. You get in there, you log on, you type some stuff in. It just comes a nice little beautiful little list, and then you're done. And you can just play around with it. You can just have a laugh with it. You don't have to have a big book in front of you constantly referencing. It doesn't make the combat any easier. Because all mech games that have come out in since the beginning of time, combat can get very complicated. You only have two things you can do, two quick actions, or one full take action, or maybe overcharge for another action, and then your options start to open up. So what you want to do, where you want to go, what the equipment completely bypasses the rules, what your protocols do, and there's a whole bunch of stuff with that. And you know what? You can't help it. It's a mech game. It's gonna be complicated. But people who like tactics, people from the 4E era, who are man, I miss being able to use tactics to get mission done, taking shots and scanning people and doing stuff like that. It's the game for them. It's nowhere near a Shadow Demon Lord as I thought it would be, because I thought it was, it's based on Shadow Demon Lord, but it's not just that. Also, I believe the guy who does Kill 6 Billion Demons does the art. I don't know if he's the one that does the game. I always have to confirm that.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I know that the art is from Kill 6 Billion Demons. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and it shows because that guy's art is fucking incredible.
Yeah,
This is the stuff. It's great. We love it to bits, and all the art within the book is just marvelous, and weird and twisted and kind of very freaky.
There's I lack the vocabulary to talk about art in any sort of intelligent way, but
it's pretty and nice.
It's picture nice. No, it's very. There's a signature style to the art that I think is it stands out a lot.
Yes.
To me, at least.
You can't go wrong when you look at his artwork. and which is great because you'll be seeing a lot of it. Well, I think it does the art for the whole book. They got Jay Owls who does she does Legacy Life Among the Ruins to do the layout as well. So the layout's nice and simple and not overly complex with like 3 columns. I'm looking at you, Vampire. With also
I mean, don't be dissing Vampire. Just I'm about to start running a game of it.
I'm not saying anything. I didn't diss. I'm just saying like maybe if you want to work on layout, you want to think about that. So it's this nice, easy to read because you need it to be easy to read because you'll be referencing the goddamn rulebook like a million times. Nice, easy to read layout. Index needs fucking work. But other than that, it's a nice, beautiful layout. The book is great. I'm so into it. The world is.
Am I guessing you maybe not so keen on the campaign mode from your facial expression?
No, it's not that. It's just it's hard to describe a trash fire that somehow that's still invigorating and incredible.
Well, I was going to say for someone like me who doesn't like I have no prior experience with this game whatsoever. I've literally looked it up on Google because you mentioned you wanted to chat about it. That's the extent of my knowledge about it. What obviously. I know it's like a mech RPG, so there's going to be certain things it's bound to have. What's like the elevator pitch for the game, if you will?
We live in a world where commodities and scarcity for items is not that important, so we print everything. But because of that, capitalism does not rule. However, every faction has its own political agenda that it's all trying to go through. And the 5. Okay, how do I put this? There is a mech that the people were starting to make. We're sitting next to the printing machine, and I started printing on its own. And they went, "Hey guys, why is that printing on its own?" And they're like, "I didn't put that in there. You didn't put that in there. Did it come from the future? I don't know. We should just pilot it. Great." AI may or may not be people who are trapped in another dimension whose consciousness upon dying has turned them into AI.
I like it.
Yeah, why not?
Some corporations do not wish to be completely free of everything. They feel everyone should be together, but it should be together under certain other people's rules.
Right.
So they will fight for whoever's rules align with theirs, but they will change it at the second they think it doesn't work to fight for others. If you're in a mech and you're like, it's time to leave, you could just leave your mech where it is and bugger off because you could just print a new one because items and scarcity is not a problem in this world.
Okay, so if we're talking about RPGs and we're talking about like the typical sort of like adventure or whatever for an RPG, like if we're going to describe D&D, we'd be like typical adventure. You go into a dungeon, you kill the monsters, you get the treasure, you get XP. That'd be like your stereotypical D&D adventure. If you were sort of setting up an adventure for this, what would be the sort of typical things you'd be sort of doing as a party?
Well, remember, in this, once again, the thing is that you're mostly fighting for corporations.
Okay.
You're getting paid.
So is it like a mission-based sort of thing? Like you're given a mission?
The game is very much like a mission-based thing, whereby you go on a mission, and when you finish a mission, your license level goes up. So every mission you do, your license goes higher, and it can go like up to 15 or something. I haven't completely consumed the book enough to give you a full-on example on that. But the more missions you do, the higher it starts to go, and the more open things that you get, and more like access to different mechs that you get. Because you grab different licenses and you use it to get more things.
So like you say, it's not about the cash because it's post scarcity. It's about having access to certain things.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And about how weird and wonderful the world is, and what weird stuff you can get involved in, and a whole bunch of. There's so much going on with the world, and how like it's the universe that we've explored. We've gone out there. We met aliens. We blew them up, so we don't have to deal with this shit anymore. As is with the humanity, as you know, we turned up, we saw space, we're like, yep, aliens are weird, blow them up, carry on.
Yep, like you do.
Yeah,
like
actually
you do.
yeah.
It's a great game, and I feel it's one of those games whereby I want to explain. There's so much about the world, well, the universe, that I'm still reading about and understanding that I still don't get. And I feel it's one of those things that I'm like, look, listen, everyone should grab the book and take a look at it because it will give you a great idea of what it is that you're looking at.
Okay. Sounds
We
good.
live in it's a golden age of awesome and fun times, and there's an economy, and there's coups, and there's weird things happening, and there's a union and a timeline that runs for like I think like 7,000 years of history, all just landed all the way through from like the moment where humanity leaves Earth as a union
Yeah.
to where we are now, where corporations have expanded and the water's opened up and a whole bunch of stuff. It's great.
Excellent. So I suppose the big question I'm going to ask is when are you going to run a one shot of it, Lloyd?
I'm not. Problem solved.
What do you mean you're not?
I don't conform to this.
You can't be like floating all these amazing game ideas out there, and then be
Yes, I
saying you're
can.
not going to run a one shot.
Yes, I can. I could do that. You're not my dad. I can do what I want. My dad.
Roll
I
credits.
say that. I'm glad you said that because I have had lots of emails off people like mistaking me for your dad. So you know.
To be fair, you both have the same hairline.
Receding.
Yeah, sure. I'll run a one shot of it sometime. I feel it's one of those games where I'll be like, yeah, we should run a one shot. I'm going to have to take you through this little by little for you to get it. But you know what? It can't be worse than all the other crazy stuff I put on you.
Well, but I mean, the thing is, I mean, obviously there's a certain amount of stuff you only get from a game. And I know you've said this before, Lloyd. You only get a certain amount from it when you actually play the game.
Yes.
Because obviously your experience from just reading a book, you might think one thing. Then when you actually play it, you're like, oh yeah, I can see how this works, and you know you're actually in it. So you get like a different viewpoint than if you just sort of like taking the book off your shelf and like reading through it like a fiction book.
And also, if for me, although I love the game, the biggest problem I always have is tactics because I'm not really a tactical gamer. So if you're not a tactical gamer and you're not into tactics or planning or moving your stuff or building a perfect mech, it can be very hard. Which is the number one take on this. There are other mech games out there that don't sit for planning, like Tears of the Machine, for example, is a mech game where you build mechs, but it's less about planning and plotting out your routes and more about like having emotions and feelings and to pilot a mech. And there's like, I think it's 7th Century G. I can always get a name wrong for this one, where the mech bit is tactical, but the game talks about like out of game stuff because like it's very much based on anime style, people with feelings piloting mechs and moving forward. Now, those two games are okay to run because they don't focus so much on tactics. Whereas Lancer, if you do not build a map with decent tactics and different layouts, it can get very, very, very boring very quickly. You can't theater the mind your way through this. You need a map. You need a layout. You need those hexagon grids.
Yeah.
You gotta put it all exactly round and move it about. But it also has a lot of setting in for making like boss style encounters.
Yeah, I mean, I think for myself, I mean, part of the reason I've not really been into like mech games in the past is like you say, because there is a sort of an investment that's required for these sort of tactical games. Whether that's the GM setting up maps or, like you said, the players actually like building their mechs, you have to like have that investment before you get started to actually like get into that style of game.
And it's a great game for people who love that. If you're like, I want to customize my mech to do like these specific things, there's like 50 options at the beginning of the game for you to start figuring out what it is you want to do. And the more licenses you get, the better you become all the way through it. But if you're like me and you're not that strong at it, and you're just like, look, I just want to shoot some boys, I just want to pop some heads.
Yeah, just kill some bad guys.
Yeah, I just want to see some bad guys. I want to fire some stinger missiles at them.
And not just as a pew pew pew. And people like that, you will suffer for a bit. Capcom makes it easier because Capcom, which is the browser program, is just so smooth and just works. That I want to show it to you guys. It's really great. Like I highly recommend if you're go look up Massive Press, MASSIF Press on itch.io and look at all the stuff you've got. And Capcom is either available as a download or as a browser. Use the browser. Browser's way cooler. And all this stuff is just It's just nicely laid out. So if you are like me and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, you just click some buttons and it'll teach you. And if you get the game, you can also get the NPC data. So when you're running it, you can run it through Capcom and have it listed out, and then you can make the encounters, you can set the missions up and set the bad guys up. All these like little things help build the game. Like I am of course as always, being me, I'm more focused on the rules than I am of the weird and wacky world that's in there. Because the world is never my strong suit, but having the system and playing with it is also is why I really enjoy, and that's what I'm mostly focused on. I highly recommend you grab the game and you take a look at the world, because the world is insane. And then you take a small portion of that world and you play through that and see what you think about it.
Sounds good. It's nice to hear, regardless of the game, it's nice to hear of a company that are actually trying to make the most of the sort of digital format to enhance their games. Obviously, we've got a lot of sort of digital assistants and digital aids out there that are mainly designed for you to run a tabletop-like experience just using a computer to like enhance that or help out a bit. I often think that games don't really take full advantage of all the stuff you can do on a digital media.
No.
Yeah, and I think especially Lloyd, because you mentioned that you like games that are slightly on the cumbersome side as far as like complicated stuff goes, and I think especially in the case of Lancer, where because mech media kind of like cyberpunk media as well, like there's a certain level of like detail wankery that goes on in that, and it's a part of the whole thing. Like I want to have this model of mech, and I want to have this and this model of weapon on it with these modifiers, and a lot of that can be easily done in this kind of way. So you can have extremely complicated games if the tool sets for them make it easy for you to select, click on a thing, there's a drop down menu, you select some stuff and you're done.
Yes.
If there's something that can facilitate these extremely complicated things, I would also like to have more of games like this, like just add in just layers and layers of complicated shit.
Yeah.
If the tool set to handle them is good.
Let's jump onto Burning Wheel. Like the character build of a Burning Wheel is the only reason why I would even consider playing Burning Wheel anymore. Because trying to make a character by hand with the book and then going to the list and then going to the stuff and figure what you would do is such a nightmare. But the build that came out recently, it's not great, but it's still really easy and simple and easy to list up. And that's one of those complicated games that works on. What was that, Johannes?
Is there a recent one? Because I'm aware of like the quote unquote old online.
Yeah, there was one that came out recently-ish. I don't know what the name is off the top of my head, but a recent one came out where it's a bit more of an updated version of that.
Yeah. Okay. I need to go look that up. I'm not aware. When I was looking some of this stuff up, it's been a while since, and it was like old and not very.
Oh yes. It's the same reason why D&D Beyond is beloved by so many people. Like, I feel there is an age we're in right now where people can make complicated games, and all they have to do is make an app that makes it so much easier to select your options that it doesn't matter how complicated the game is.
Yeah, usability.
I mean, the reason we use computers like in the workplace is because they can do a lot of the tedious like manual BS that would otherwise take you ages and be complicated. They can do it simply. You can do a couple of clicks of a button and it's done. I mean, it's why we use like spreadsheets and databases and stuff like that. They can handle all the tedious like manual stuff. So if you're going to have a complicated game, I mean, to use Burning Wheel as an example, once you've got over the sort of like the initial complication of the character generation and you're familiar with all that and you absorbed it a bit. I mean, I certainly know when you ran like the second game I played in Johannes, I found it a lot easier because I'd sort of absorbed some of that. But like you say, if you can have an app that can sort of get you over that initial sort of hump a lot quicker and just get you into the actual game, that's got to be a good thing, surely.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think D&D Beyond exists and why it makes so much money?
Yeah.
D&D Beyond mostly exists because for 4E, D&D made an encounter. D&D they made a character builder, which was so incredible It was so incredible, and so many people missed out on that because they didn't play 4E because they're busy being like, I don't know, like nerds, some dumb crap. That they missed out on an incredibly nice, light 4-click button, make your character have your powers listed.
Yeah.
And D&D Beyond came out, and I was like, I can't believe it's a pay per month thing. But at the same time, this is essential if you play a lot of D&D. That having all the rules of every book in one space, and you click a few buttons, and it's just there for you, is unprecedented, and it's essential for complicated games of today's day and age. Every game should have an instant character builder, even older games.
I mean, even if you look at something like Roll20, which is obviously not a specific character builder designed for specific games, but the Call of Cthulhu game you're running for us at the minute, Johannes, even just having the ability to just like drop your stats into like one of those character sheets and be able to make the rolls off the character sheet saves you an awful lot of time and cuts it down. I was able to go, right, I've got this many points, like so
Done.
Yeah, done. And that's with something that wasn't specifically designed to like make characters as such. So having one of these apps that is specifically targeted on that could just cut that process down even further. And I've got to say, you've sort of sold me on this mech game because I've just looked at that CopCon and I've seen that there's a lot of pirate-based names for the different mech frames.
You are the worst person.
And I'm just like, oh, give me some of them space pirates.
You are the worst person. I'm out. I'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah, and bye.
What can I say, man? I love me some piracy in role-playing games, whether it's space piracy or whatever.
The game is like the Long Rim, I believe, is just about being in a like part of Union space that's just pirates. It's like the supplement. I think it's free. I'm not sure if it's free actually. Let me double check. Hang on a second, everybody. I think it's free, or maybe I get it for free because I backed the Kickstarter, and it's just like a mini setting expansion that has a whole bunch of like NPC characters and people you meet and all a bunch of other stuff as well with it, and that is all about being pirates in like the wild section, like the Outer Rim from the Star Wars.
Mate, there's a mech frame called the Barbarossa.
I want to go home.
I mean, there's one called the Tortuga.
Tortuga's a good name for this. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you love, and Lancer is great because if it went for the incredibly crazy complexity of its rule system being simplified in Capcom, I'd probably never play it because I'm trash like that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the benefit of things like that. I mean, myself, I'm not really deeply into like massively complex games, but if you've got a game where you can go like, yeah, this game's really complicated, but if you just run this app, it makes it a lot simpler. I'm far more likely to then go, oh, well, I'll like invest in that and I'll give it a go. Whereas from what you're saying, if this app didn't exist, I'd look at the book and I'd probably go, yeah, it looks interesting, but I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, and I also enjoy a lot of other kinds of games, but I also enjoy the complicated ones. But the thing that appeals to me isn't so much the trouble I have to go through to make it work. It's more in the depth of it. So I want the like nested options of like increasing complexity, but I like the enjoyment that I derive from them isn't like spending hours flipping back and forth in a book. I want to be able to use it effectively.
Well, we said this again. Sorry to keep harping on about Burning Wheel, but we said this when you were running that for us. Like as we were going along, we were like, "Oh, this is how like circles work. Oh, this is how this bit of the mechanics work." So you sort of like the benefit of the complexity is it's a bit more difficult to get into initially, but when you start sort of like peeling back those layers and getting into it, you find there's like more to discover the more you invest in it and the more you sort of delve into it.
Like, the depth, and I presume I haven't read through Lancer, but I presume you can get into some interesting bullshit with Lancer as well. As
you have no idea.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the gold nugget for me. Like I want that.
I'll always proclaim that Burning Wheel is one of the best games you should never play that exists in the world, because so much can be learned from just reading the book. And I'm like, everyone should read the book of Burning Wheel because some of the ideas in it is absolutely crazy, and it's still used today to help make more easily accessible and far better role-playing games than it is.
There's a lot of that also applies to Apocalypse World. Just like there's some fundamental ideas.
Bruh, a whole bunch of stuff from Burning Wheel is in Apocalypse World.
Yeah.
Like Apocalypse World, Blaze in the Dark, Lady Blackbird, all these games picked up stuff from that. And Lancer has a few ideas and I like concepts from that comes from it. You can pick up so much stuff from there. But what makes Lancer that much more different is Capcom. Because it's so easy. Oh my! You have no idea. You've no idea how good Like I can't even begin to imagine trying to play Lancer without Capcom. I can't. I'm in my head. I'm like, I can't function with this. I cannot run this game. This is not possible. It's so much easier with it, and a whole bunch of like things about Lancer is so good. Like the world, the layout of the book, the ease of you getting into it, and it's still so complicated that people who are not like me, who are like, I want a game where I can literally predict the next 5 moves the GM can make and counteract them. Those people have a good time with that too.
I suppose one thing I would ask as well is, obviously previously, more complex games have tended to lend themselves like more to longer term campaign play, because obviously you have to sort of invest in them to get the most out of them.
Burning Wheel, you can't play a one-shot Burning Wheel. You're just wasting your time.
Agree. Hard agree.
Yeah, I mean the sort of the pre-gen scenario that you ran for us. I mean that was like fairly short. And that was like 3 sessions, wasn't it?
3 sessions,
And I don't know about yourself, but I really felt we'd only just sort of like skimmed the surface of it with that. Enough for me to go, yeah, I'm interested in this. I want to play it some more. But I didn't feel that like, oh yeah, I've really sort of thoroughly got the system, to the point where when we were playing it in the other game afterwards, we were finding stuff out as we were going along. Where I was like, oh, this didn't come up in like the pre-gen scenario.
It's basically the 3-part thing, because it's built for running at cons, right? So it's basically, if you're lucky, maybe you touch on 3 different points in one session, but probably it's going to be like 2 different things that come up in every one of those. So if you take that like 3-session thing and you say every session had 2 things that we learned, that's not a lot for Burning Wheel. Like you learn the first roll, right? Your standard whatever you're trying to do, and then maybe John, you cast some magic, you lit up some light balls, and that was it. And then in the next session, maybe we have, I don't know,
do
like a
whip or some dumb shit.
So some like
or
social
do the
stuff.
job option, or like there's so many moving parts to that game. Hence, I'm always like, don't play Burning Wheel, guys. You're wasting your time. You're not gonna get through the whole thing. You're not gonna understand what it means. You're gonna go at least 4 or 5 sessions, and then you're gonna quit, and then it's gonna be pointless, and you wasted 5 weeks. Like, there's no point. And a whole bunch of other games as well, which are that idea of tactics and running through, also require some amount of time, but not all of them are so complex. Like, how do I put it down? There's a difference between depth and complexity when it comes to a game. A game with good depth, you would play it, you will get all the rules, but you won't really be able to apply them in the right way to make them work until 4 or 5 sessions in. That's what Lancer is. You get all the rules at the beginning of the game. You got it all right there in front of you, you're done. But the more depth you go with your mech customization and the options you have, the more the game shines. Whereas a game like 4E, not 4E, not 4E, like Burning Wheel, it is a complex game because you're going to get the rules. You're going to be like, great, I've used these 3 rules, and go, wait, that's wonderful. Now please learn these other 10 in the next session or you're screwed. And that applies even for Mouse Guard, which I love, by the way, which is still my favorite game of all time, and still will always be right there on my shelf, looking beautiful. Even Mouse Guard has that level of complexity where you can't apply everything and every rule in the first few of 3 sessions, and it's only later on that you get to it. And that's where those games fail. That's what makes those games not so strong. Same thing for that game, Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, the RPG. Great game, but you will not apply every single option in the first game because it's way too complex. It should be simple Because the same rules for fighting as it is for talking, as it is for traveling, as it is for war. But the way they applied with the people involved and what you can do stretches this out to the point where it makes it way more complex than it already is. And until you're playing the full chronicle idea of either playing different houses or playing one house that goes over like 20 to 30 years, you won't fully appreciate the game. That's the way some games are. Burning was the same way. Lancer is not. Lancer, you know what you're doing at the beginning. You know how it freaking works. And it's just the more licenses you get, the more options you come, and that makes it more of a debt game, and that's what makes it so strong. I hope that made sense and I wasn't talking bollocks.
No, yeah, definitely. The sort of like adding stuff on top with Lancer, right? Like you get the base, and then you're like, hey, I know how to shoot a gun, and then you're like, great, you finished that mission. Now, how about your gun shoots guns, huh?
You're like,
huh?
I mean, okay, I guess. It's one of those things. That's where Lancer's strength lies, because once you get the base game, anything can come through. Very few games have that level of depth compared to complexity. Like say for example, Blades in the Dark, which is a great game, if you like Blades in the Dark. But all the mechanics and functions, like the clocks or like the faction loves and all of those, you can't really experience that until you've played a longer game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can really understand how they work and manipulate them. And although it's also very narrative based, your characters don't change that much. You might get some more dots or get a few more options on the side, but your characters are pretty much the same as they go through. And it's up to you to figure out how to make the game work for you. So the complexity level increases until you've done like 2 or 3 missions. And then it's like, yep, now you're fine. Now it's about how you approach them and how you use narrative, like your narrative like agency to go through. And that's where the debt lies for that.
Yeah, especially with Blades in the Dark, you kind of... There's a shit ton of sessions you can put in just the faction play, right?
Yes.
You do the things, like you still go and you murder people, maybe you steal some shit, but you do that with your eye on the faction map and being like, okay, so we need to fuck these guys over, and to do that we need to go do this other thing.
I mean, we've been seeing that a bit in the Scum and Villainy game. Obviously, I know that's based on Blades in the Dark that you're running for, Johannes. So we played the first game, did our first mission, great fun, very much enjoyed that. But now we've got like a sort of a couple of sessions in the bag, and like the downtime stuff and like the picking the other missions and sort of like the heat mechanics have started to sort of like come in a little bit more. The game feels like it's sort of like it's opening up and sort of like revealing more of it. Yeah.
It's that moment where Blade in the Dark starts to expand, that the depth starts to come in, because you're like, okay, there's a lot of rules, don't get it. I get all the rules, then again, now let's get deeper into this. Let's open it up and see how they all apply to each other. So then you see what your options are and where you want to go. And Blade in the Dark is very good for that. Like, that's why John Harper is God, but that's the point here anyway. That's what we're talking about. That's where that loveliness comes in. I feel like Lancer has that. I need to play the game more to fully appreciate that, but I feel it has that level of depth when it comes to customizing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Lloyd. You need to run the game more, definitely, obviously.
What, Blades in the Dark?
Well, to be honest, if you were like anyone fancy like a one-shot of Blades in the Dark, I'd be like, yep.
I would, but you know what? I have a confession to make. So I worship the ground John Harper walks on. Like, this is me in a nutshell. Like, I won't kick him out of bed in the morning if you can do breakfast. But I'm not a big fan of Blades in the Dark, because I don't like the setting of Blades in the Dark. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
It is literally too dark. It's not
it's too dark. There's too many blades.
It's too many blades.
They're in places.
You're in it.
Not ready. I'm in it. Like, no. Like, too much. I'm out.
There's an article as well.
To be fair, we can't really complain about you liking the game with just Blades. They're not given like how much me and Johannes like Kevin Crawford stuff. So
yeah, I know.
Who's Kevin Crawford?
He did Stars Without Number.
Oh, fair dues. That was alright.
Yep. Yeah, he makes a lot of cool like system agnostic like stuff generators. Which
I remember Stars Number when it first came out, like so long ago.
Because for me, like, obviously, you know, I love the OSR stuff, but a lot of it can be like pretty samey. Whereas I like the fact that Kevin Crawford goes, right, I'm starting off with that. then here's how I'm going to build on it and like make it into something different.
All OSR games are the same.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that, but whereas that can be a weakness, it can also be a strength though, because
you know what a game is.
Yeah, exactly. If you rock up to a game, you're like, right, I'm running a one shot. You go, oh, it's based on like old D&D. Like 99.9% of like role players will be like, I've got some idea of how this works.
Yeah, they're not gonna complain. Same thing, like if you come up, you're like, it's a D20 system. I'm mid of 5th edge. You're like, yep, I know what's up.
That comes back to what we're talking about with depth, though. Because the advantage of having a game that maybe doesn't have as much depth sort of systemically is that, yeah, okay, it might be sort of shallower and there's less to reveal as you go along, but also you don't sort of have to like slowly like wade out into like the deep end of that pool to like find out what's going on in the game. You can just hit the ground running and get straight into it.
If you have a game system that is universal, like Fate or anything else like that, you're like, it doesn't matter what world I play in, I know how this works. I'm just gonna jump right into it. I'm done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You don't think about it. Same thing for OSR. If you have an OSR game and they're like, okay, this is OSR, but it's set underwater, you're like, yep, I know what's up. I'm already running 3d6 down the line, bitch. Let's go.
Well, that's it. So when I ran like the pirate game Fate for you guys, it was like, okay, yeah, it's Fate. You know the system. It's set in like a pirate setting. Let's go.
Let's just jump into it.
Yeah, you create your characters using the setting. Everyone knows the sort of like pirate flavour. You jump into it. Likewise, when you were running your sort of samurai Fate one shot, and you were like, right, it's based on samurai movies. We're using the Fate system, and we were trying, right, okay, we know what samurai movies are like. Let's change some characters. Let's fucking go. And there was no messing about.
It is. There is a convenience that comes from learning a system, which is why I try to learn as many systems as I can, because I like the idea of systems and I like how they function in a world, especially when they're. I don't particularly like system agnostic systems. I don't like all rounders. Yeah. I like things to be customized because I like that. But I do like to learn as many systems as I can because I want to be able to see how they apply in different situations, different worlds. And sometimes a setting can suit a system way more than a system can suit a setting. I mean, I've done it, but I don't think Fate is the best game for running a TV drama where you play actors in the TV drama in. I've done it and it was great, but it's not the best for it.
Yeah, I mean, the from my sort of point of view, if you go for a sort of setting agnostic system, you tend to get a system that's okay at doing a lot of things. Whereas if you have a system that's customized, you get a system that's very good, but only at doing specific things. Yeah.
That's not a bad thing, though, is it? Like
no. It's different.
Sometimes you just want a system that's one thing, and that's all I need a system for. I don't need to learn for anything else.
No, that's it. It's different. Each approach has its like strengths and weaknesses, its benefits and its flaws. So when we were talking about scum and villainy, if you want to just jump in straight away and play a sort of freewheeling, sort of space opera, mission-based game, that has got you covered. But I know me and Johannes were talking about if you wanted to take that game and then run a different type of game with it, you've got to do a lot of work because the system will not help you because it's not designed for that.
No. Although there probably is a version of Blades that you can find in that setting that you wanted.
Oh yeah,
because there's a lot of Blade systems are coming out recently.
But that's the benefit of having a sort of a simple basic core system that then other people are taking and developing. And like I say, to come back to like Kevin Crawford we're talking about there, he's one of the benefits of his games are he starts off with that sort of OSR base, but then he goes, right, here I'm going to customize it and like tweak it to make it work specifically for this setting. So it's familiar, but he's customized it and sort of like taken it, like added a bit more depth to it for whatever genre he's covering.
And the same thing applies for Lancer, because Lancer system, the base system, is Shadow Demon Lord, which I don't like, which is never my cup of tea. I find it not that interesting at all. I'm like, I might as well play D&D at this point.
It's another one of those games where I sort of like, I've got a copy of Shadow the Demon Lord. I sort of picked it up because like I like some of the sort of setting ideas, but again, it's another one I've not really sort of got around to running.
Really, I'm surprised by that. You'd enjoy that, I think. But it's the base version of Shadow Demon Lord, but it expands on that and it makes it its own thing. And because it expands so much onto it, that's what makes it so strong. And it feels different enough that I'm like, yep, I can enjoy this. This is my cup of tea. Also, you are in a mech shooting people, which is always fun.
Well, yeah, definitely. And I'm assuming, from what you said, as we were saying earlier, if you were like, oh, I want to take Lancer, but I want to run like a different type of game with it, it wouldn't have you covered for that, because it's not designed for that. It's designed for a very specific sort of style and mode of play.
Yes. I would not be able to use Lancer to run a TV drama plot. No.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of thing. Now, 20th Century G, that's a different mech game that can run that, but that game is freaking crazy, and everyone should play it once.
I like the way you keep trying to slip in like TV drama plots, like as I used to like sizing us up for like a TV drama based game in the future.
I mean, I could do. I wrote one up for Fate because I was taking a piss my friends. I just made one up and I was like, this is hilarious. This will never work in an actual game, but this is hilarious and I love it.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could release that. I should think about it. I should sit down and just write it. Especially with Fate Condensed coming out recently, I probably could do it.
Yeah.
Let's change the skills around. Nope, I was like, being distracted, carry on.
Well, I was going to say, do we have anything more? Obviously, we've been chatting for about 40 minutes. Do we have anything?
I know, right? I think it's enough content for you now. You can close it down, please.
Would you? Yeah, I should point out that Lloyd was complaining that he was giving me free content because I'm broadcasting.
Free content.
So.
My time is money.
That's it, man. You see, what kind of attitude is that to have? But okay, give Lancer a look. Check it out, particularly if you're into more sort of detail orientated, more tactical based games, and keep a lookout for Lloyd's upcoming TV drama based RPG. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you all soon.
Bye guys.
Bye.